sat at the edge of my bed and I just yelled at God and I said, am I going to be okay? And with that, I saw a light that came towards me from the other side of the room. And as it was coming towards me, I said, if you're not of God, please leave.
Welcome to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, where world-changing spiritual entrepreneurs come to deeply awaken the power within to bring forth their greatest purpose, while enjoying being in tune with all life and real wealth in all aspects of their lives. I'm your host, Daniel John Hanneman. And welcome everybody to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. I am so excited to have this new guest with us today. Karen Noe is an amazing medium, really. I mean, I've known a medium or two, but from what I've heard, more than what I've taken in, because I take in a lot of stuff, but I feel like, and I just have heard so many amazing things about Karen. And hey, she's been getting Wayne Dyer's up in her field, talking to her, and she's bringing the messages and all that stuff. Unfortunately, I don't know if we'll get any live messages today. Doesn't look like, but like she will have messages that she has heard from Wayne and what he's been sharing on the other side, and way more. Wait till you get it, wait till you hear about this. You're going to be really enthused, I think, to hear more about what she's channeling through this weak consciousness. So, Karen, I'm really grateful to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
Sure thing. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and share a little bit more. Karen Noe is a renowned psychic medium, spiritual counselor, and healer with a 2-year waiting list. So there you go. She's pretty popular. I mean, she must be pretty good. Since best-selling author Dr. Wayne Dyer left the physical plane in 2015, Karen has been receiving profound messages from him for his family and for the world. Wayne also comes through with a group of other celestial beings we call the We Guides. That includes Saint Francis of Assisi and numerous angels and ascended masters. She is the author of We Consciousness, Your Life After Their Death, the Angel Quest Oracle Deck, Through the Eyes of Another, and The Rainbow Follows the Storm. Karen is a founder of the Angel Quest Center in Waldwick, New Jersey, where she teaches classes, gives readings, and practices alternative healing. You can listen all about her on her Angel Quest show on all podcast platforms, and you can visit her at KarenNoe.com. Okay, so Karen, I was telling again, I was talking to you about this. Steve Farrell from Humanity's Team, chief bottle washer and chief or whatever. Just let me keep it lighter, right? Anyway, he was on, a few months ago maybe, and yeah, just with great enthusiasm, he shared about the we consciousness, the divine council, or however all the different ways he put it, but more or less like, you talked about you directly. So people, you want to learn more about the way Steve communicated some things and more things from Steve, check out that episode as well. But Karen, how did this happen? Tell us more about how did you start getting into this stuff, and how did Dr. Wayne Dyer come to you?
Oh boy. So those are two different stories. Do you want to know how it began with me connecting with deceased loved ones first?
Yeah, absolutely. Because there's people, a lot of my audience or people are opening to this sort of thing.
Sure. So I was always psychic, and my father used to take me to the racetrack, and I picked the winning horses for him. And now I'm an animal activist. I don't go to the track. But things like that, I would dream things before they happened and so forth. But about 25 years ago, I was going through a very difficult time in my life. And I sat at the edge of my bed and I just yelled at God and I said, am I going to be okay? And with that, I saw a light that came towards me from the other side of the room. And as it was coming towards me, I said, if you're not of God, please leave. The more I said that, the more it kept coming towards me, and eventually it enveloped me. And I had the most profound peace that I had ever felt before. At that time, I heard an audible voice that said, Lucia Lucina, Bella Lucia Lucina. I don't know if there are any Italian listeners, but that means light, little light, beautiful little light. And I've since learned that it was Saint Francis of Assisi who's been guiding and protecting me ever since. Right after that experience, I started receiving messages from angels and deceased loved ones, and I did not want to do this. I was very, very shy, did not want to do this. But the rest is history, you know, a little message here, a little message there, and then word caught on and so forth. So that's how it began. I don't know if you want to know the Wayne Dyer story too.
Oh, we'll get there next. Maybe we'll digest this one a little bit first. So that's pretty amazing. I mean, it's not like you're like, hey, I want to get well known. Let me go be a psychic medium or something, right? You know,
I didn't want to.
the opposite.
Reluctant medium. Yeah,
Yeah. Sounds like you went a little bit kicking and screaming at first.
yeah. True.
So that's really phenomenal. I find, I just say this again for our listeners, you know, a lot of times we are that way at first with these gifts to some degree, different ways and different levels. Sometimes we shut them out, but it's because again, like we've been persecuted for our gifts in past lives and all that. I don't know if you're into that, Karen, but like that's how I noted to be based on all my energy scans of healers. Like, yep, see how you happened with you too. And so you know, so you know, it's a good story for people to hear. Like just hey, quit fighting it, you know, see what's available to you. Because I feel like I always say like with what I do with the gifts, it's like that's why I do the trainings. I'm like, you can do it too. You know, maybe it's a little different for you, but you know, you could do similar things at least, right? At minimum. And so
Absolutely.
I'm grateful you're leading the way with that.
Yeah, you know, absolutely. The most important thing I think that I do is to empower people to do this because I'm
Mm,
not the only one that can do
right.
it. So, yeah.
That's awesome. So yeah, tell us more about then. You opened up to this, and you started doing this work, and then how did you know? So how long were you doing it before this started happening?
Before
Was
Wayne,
yeah,
well, right after that experience, I started practicing in the back of a hair salon.
okay.
You know, I had a little room there and I would
Mhm,
do Reiki on the person. And as I had, you know, I was doing Reiki on them, then messages would come. I think
mhm.
you're looking for the Wayne Dyer connection. What happened
Ultimately,
is about
yes.
25 years. So I've been doing this 25 years.
Wow.
And I was always a fan of Wayne Dyer. I did not know him personally. Everybody asked me. I did not know him personally. I was a huge fan.
Hmm.
Um, I interviewed his daughter Serena 2 weeks before I passed to promote her book called "Don't Die with Your Music Still in You." It's a wonderful book. But I had her contact information. So after Wayne passed, I was devastated. I didn't think the world would be the same again. I was really very sad. And I said, you know, I have to do something for the family. So I just emailed Serena. And all I said was something like, Serena, I'm so sorry about the passing of your dad. I'm a fellow Hay House author with your dad. I don't know him personally. I said, please know that your dad truly is okay and would want you to be too. Ask him to come to you in a dream and to wake you up after the dream. This is what I would tell people if they lost a loved one.
Right.
Ask him to give you, I call it a without a doubt sign to let you know he's with you. Signs. They love to give us signs. And then I
Hmm.
said, it's important to be patient and wait, and the signs will come when you least expect it. And then
Hmm.
at the end of the email, I said, if you would like a copy of my book, at that time it was Your Life After Their Death, you know, how you can become a medium. I would love to send that to you. And that was it. That was it. 5 minutes later, I received an email back from her. She said she would love a copy of my book. Sent it to her. That was it. About a month later, I was scheduled to speak at a Hay House event, my publisher, about Your Life After Their Death, that book that just came out. And a day before that, there was going to be a tribute to Dr. Dyer in Orlando, Florida.
Hmm.
So, of course, I went to that. I went to it, and what they did was, Hay House, I keep saying but you know, it's when my publisher, right outside the hotel room, they had a bus going from the hotel room to the conference center
Hmm.
for Wayne Dyer's family and the authors to go to this tribute. So I'm sitting on the bus waiting to go, and there's only one seat available on the whole bus, and it happens to be next to me. So in
Mm.
walks Serena, who I just sent the book to,
Right.
and you see, this kept happening. It
Yeah.
was craziest thing. So she sat down next to me and I said, "Oh, Serena, I'm so sorry about your dad." She goes, "Oh, Karen, thank you so much for the book. It really is very helpful." We talked about if she got any signs from her dad, and she said she didn't. Now, this was only a couple of weeks after he passed. So
Mhm.
since then, they've been getting many signs. But at that time, she said her sister Sage, the youngest of eight, he had eight children. Um,
Wow.
her sister Sage had a dream. And in the dream, her dad came to her and hugged her. And she said she felt his hairy arms in the dream. So I said, that's a real visitation. That's so exciting. And that was
Mhm.
it. We went to the tribute. So nothing really happened at this point.
Mhm.
Went to the tribute, and after it was over, it was very nice. We walked back to the bus. And as I was walking to the bus, I see all Wayne Dyer's family. I see the CEO of Hay House, Reed
Mhm.
Tracy, my favorite authors. And before I go on the bus, I said, I'm insignificant. I'm not sitting on that bus. I'm walking back. So
Mm.
that's it. So I started walking back to the hotel instead of taking the bus. And in my head, I'm saying, I'm so insignificant. I'm so insignificant. And that's when I heard him for the first time. And literally, these messages come as thoughts, but I've been doing this so many years, I know how they come. It's not an
Yeah.
audible voice. I would tell people, listen to the thoughts that just pop into your head for no reason.
Right. Right.
So as I'm saying, I'm so insignificant, he said, get out of your own way. Get out of your own way. And I said, Wayne, if that's really you, you have to give me a sign to let me know it's really you.
Mhm.
That's what I would tell our listeners. If you think you have a sign, you're listening to your deceased loved one, ask for a sign.
Mhm.
So I continued to walk, and I remembered he had said to us in his books, in his lectures, ask the universe, how may I serve? Because if you ask the universe, how may I serve, the universe works in ways to conspire to serve us as well. So
Right.
I said, how may I serve? And he said, you're already serving. I said, fine, how may I serve more?
Mhm.
I continued to walk to the hotel room. And as I got into the hotel room, there was something very itchy that,
Mhm.
like coming from my shirt, it was very bizarre. So I looked to
Mhm.
see what it was. And it was a sticker that had somehow attached itself to my shirt. I usually carry it with me on interviews, but I don't have it here. But on the sticker, it said WE on it.
Mhm.
And on the bottom, it said Disney World. I had not been to Disney World, so I don't know what that was. So I'm
Right.
like, oh. And then all of a sudden, whoosh, I felt Wayne. And he said, is that good enough? Now, at the time, I did not know what it meant. I thought it meant Wayne, beginning letter W, last letter E, Wayne. So I said, oh, that's amazing. Thank you so
There
much.
we go. We got to figure it out.
Little did
Right?
I know it was so much more than that. And this is a very long story. I'm going to make it very brief if I can.
Sure.
And we could talk more about it in a minute. Um, so I was just so excited. I went back home. By the time I got home, Sage, the daughter who had the dream of Wayne with the hugging her with his hairy arms, contacted me on Facebook. And she was telling me about her dream, and we're going back and forth. And then all of a sudden, he started to come through for her. I said, Sage, can I call you? And she said, yes, absolutely. So I called her, and he was telling her very personal messages that only she would know. And then
Mhm.
she said, Karen, can my sisters and my mom come to see you? So I'm pretty booked. I'm booked a couple of years ahead of time, but how often you get to see, you guys
Right.
family. So I said,
Right.
okay, we'll figure out what we could do and
Yeah.
move people around. It was
Right.
several months ahead of time. In any case, I hung up the phone and then I started to yell at Wayne. I said, Wayne, you better come through. I've been doing this for many years, but I've never done it for you.
Right.
And anyway, I went for a walk with my dog, Duke. And as I'm going for the walk, he started to come through. And he
Mhm.
was so excited to talk about the afterlife and
Mhm.
so excited to talk about the we consciousness, WE. That's what was on my sticker, which I'll tell you what the we consciousness is in a minute, but let me finish with this story. He was going to be coming through singularly for his family, and he has 8 children and a wife.
Mm-hmm.
And he was going to be coming through also as a group consciousness called the We Guides, which would include Saint Francis of Assisi, ascended masters, angels, and so forth. And they were going to be giving me 33 concepts of the we consciousness too, because at the time and even now, there's too much stuff going on in the world. We need to create peace in the world. And I said, why 33? And he said, 33 symbolizes spiritual, exactly, these are the words he said, symbolizes divine guidance and the spiritual uplifting of all of humanity.
Mm.
So consecutive, every day I went for a walk and I'd take my phone and he'd come through as I'm going for a walk with more concepts and so forth. Fast forward, I'm sorry, this is a long story, and I'm trying to make it as brief as possible.
Mm-hmm.
They came to see me, the Dyers, and the day that they were going to be coming in, I'm driving to work, driving to my center, and a car cuts me off. And the license plate said Dyer 1 on it. So I said, oh my God. I took my phone. I'm trying to take a picture. Did you ever try to take a picture in a moving car? It's difficult, but you could kind of
Right.
see it was awesome. So I knew he was going to come through. He, I'm very shy. It doesn't seem like I'm shy, but I'm very shy, especially when I meet
Mm-hmm.
somebody like the Dyers and all of that.
Right. Yeah.
Um, so I'm in my office and they came in. The first thing they did was they went into the bathroom. They had to go to the bathroom. And Wayne is telling me to tell them to hurry up. And I'm like, no, no way. And he was really forceful.
Wow.
He said, I can't do this. And so I said, I knocked on the door and I said, I'm really sorry, but your dad is saying, hurry up. And all of a sudden it's like he took over me and hurry up, hurry up, hurry up, sit down. I said, I'm so sorry. So it was me, it was him, it was me, it was him. I felt like I was schizophrenic. And Serena was so funny. She said, Dad? Because the way it was coming out was exactly the way he talked to them.
Right.
They sat down and he spoke to them each in a different way. It was Sage, Serena, Sky, and Marceline. And he
Mm-hmm.
spoke to Sky very softly. He spoke to Serena forcefully. He spoke to them each differently.
Mm-hmm.
And he said things that only they would know.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Everything made sense. They told him what to say in the car. You have to say this if you're really coming through and that. Some of they're very private. I spoke about some of them in the We Consciousness book. About one of them, which everybody shares, they allowed me to share, is at the appointment, he said to Serena, you're pregnant. And she said, no, I'm not. I said, I'm just saying what your dad is saying. She said, no, I just had a baby. I said, okay, I'm just saying what your dad is saying. And he's showing me fireworks, fireworks. I don't know what that means. So they were so happy about the messages that came through. They went home. She took a pregnancy test, and she was indeed in the family way due on the 4th of July,
Mm-hmm.
which was like 8.5 months later. It was like she was right in the beginning stages. Uh,
Right. Yeah, because I remember I was just gonna
yeah,
jump seconds. I remember Steve told about that part of the story.
yeah,
And the way he told it, he says that she says, there's no way I'm pregnant. That
right.
can't be right, right?
Yeah. And I said, and she did not look pregnant. It's not
Right.
something I could have,
But
okay,
she
she
didn't
looks.
even know she was pregnant at the
No,
time.
she didn't even know she was pregnant. But if I may share there's so many, the next 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
he came through so many times to eat like almost each member of his family. He has, like I said, he has 8 children and a wife. And if I could share just a couple of those messages, that even blows my mind away. Like I know without a doubt when he comes and I said, why do you come through singularly for them and then as a group consciousness? He said, so that everybody knows it's really me. So
Right.
that when we talk about the group consciousness, the we guides, people will listen.
Mm,
Because
okay.
anybody could say, Wayne Dyer's
Right.
coming,
I am channeling whoever, right? Yeah. Right.
right?
Right.
So one of them is, let me share this one. Okay, his oldest daughter, Tracy, which is his daughter from a previous marriage, not Marceline. But at this point, I had everybody's phone number at this point, calling them, this has happened, this is happening.
Mhm.
And so I call 6 o'clock in the morning. He tells me to text Tracy. And I'm like, no, I'm not doing it 6 o'clock in the morning. Call her now. Call her now. I said, oh God, Wayne, please no. Call her now. So now let me tell the audience that we retain our same personality when we were here in the physical body. So if we were loud, we're still loud. So such was the case
Right.
with Wayne. Yeah.
Right.
So I texted Tracy. I said, I am so sorry. Your dad is coming through. May I call you? And within a minute, she texted me back and said, yes, exclamation, exclamation, exclamation. So I called her, and the first thing he told me to tell her, I said, don't say anything. I said, sorry to call you at this time, but your dad is saying, yes, he can hear you, but you can't hear him. I said, does that mean something? And she started to cry. And I said, what does that mean? She said, Karen, I just had a dream. And in the dream, my dad said to me, no, I was screaming at my dad, she said. And I
Mhm.
said, Dad, can't you hear me? Can't you hear me? And
Oh,
he told me to
wow.
call her at that moment. And yes, I can hear you, but you can't hear me. So that was one. I'll give you one
Right.
more and then I'll stop. um,
Sure.
okay, his son Sans. I just was giving him a few messages, most of them with the girls.
Mhm.
But at one point, we were emailing back and forth. And anyway, this was about a year after we contacted each other, Sans and I. And about a year later, I went to the bank, came home, and on my computer is that email just showed up on my screen. So I said, I think he wants me to contact Sans right this moment, like right
Mhm.
now. That's what he's been doing. So I called Sans. I said, Sans, what is going on? And he said, Karen, I'm on a plane going from Florida to Maui. Um, I'm moving there because I want to work there and do sailing and so forth. And I asked my dad for a sign if I'm doing the right thing. And his dad told me to call him right away and say, go for your dreams, go for your dreams. So it was
Mhm.
amazing at the exact same time. So that's what I dealt with. This is the reluctant medium. I don't want to do this. I really don't, but that was, and the best part, and then I'll end the story right here and now. I taught the Dyers how to do what I do so they don't need me. And that's what I teach people how to do this, how to look for the
Mhm.
signs, how to receive how to get the dreams, how they come to us as thoughts, and so forth. And they've been receiving messages ever since. And they wrote a book called, oh gosh, Knowing, The Knowing. Yeah, and
Right.
it's a great book.
Do you want to meditate and make money? Let it be simple. Let it be easy. Let it be fun. Go to yoursacredpurpose.com and get your free meditate, make money meditation today.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Yeah,
That's very interesting. So, wow, that's fascinating. The piece that reminded me of just from recently was I imagine, a lot of people that are tuned in get a lot of that experience of as it relates to you get messages, you don't know why you got them, then you find out later why you got the message, like that type of an experience that listeners could maybe relate to some. And for me, yeah, the other, and then again, the more I'm willing to be open all the time, I get messages more all the time. But one day I just, yeah, and it was again, it was a morning thing, and I just heard like, oh yeah, one of my clients, because I do intuitive business coaching on top of the scanning training and stuff. And I just got the message, oh yeah, she lost one of those type of clients, one of her top level clients. Oh, she just lost one. Okay. And so I didn't think much of it. A lot of times you don't think much of these things. I'm just like, oh, okay. Yeah, I guess that happened then. I mean, it's kind of how I take it these days. And then sure enough, later that day, I happened to be meeting with her. She's like, oh, yeah. And then I lost one. This is like every day this happens, right? So it's just like, that's so funny. Like that voice just came to me that happened earlier today. So I think it's just we don't pay attention. We're not open enough. We don't pay attention enough, right? So you
yeah.
tell me, like you train in your own way how to open up and listen and pay attention. So how do you help people with that? I'm curious about
Well,
that right now.
that's a good question. That's a great story, but you're learning to listen, right? You're learning to trust. What
Right.
happens is they speak to us.
Right.
Now, most people expect to hear a voice or expect to see an apparition of what they look like, but they may come that way. But most of the time, they come telepathically. They speak to us as our thoughts, as an intuition,
Right.
like you said. And
Right. Yeah.
now, how do you tell the difference between your thoughts about them
Mhm.
or them speaking to you? And here's the difference. Your thoughts about them will have an originating thought. Say you see a picture of your grandmother that triggers a thought, that's you. But
Mhm.
if your grandmother comes to you, you'll be driving and something they would have said or did just pops in your head for no reason. When my mom passed, for example, I'm
Mhm.
driving and all of a sudden I heard like not a voice, but a hi, sweetheart. Now, I don't call myself sweetheart. She called me sweetheart. So I
Right.
knew, and I've been doing this for years. I said, "Oh, mom, I love you so much." So what I want everybody to do is to trust those, like you said, it just came to you, right? It was just an intuitive, that's how it came, yes?
Yeah, it's just
The
you know,
message?
I mean, after decades of being in this flow too, I mean, it's like, yeah, that's how it happens. It's just you get annoying about something, you're just out of the blue, like you said, just out of the blue, like, oh, okay. I'm just like, oh, okay, I guess that happened. So I just
Yeah,
take note, and sometimes I don't usually make a big deal out of it when I don't mind like, wow, I got a download or so,
right.
not usually. It's usually just like, oh, okay, and I don't make much of it, then it usually gets confirmed, in for very quickly anyway. Like if
Yeah,
it's true or not, right? Like, oh
yeah,
yeah, this happened. I said, oh yeah, it's funny. I got that download this morning, and
right.
I also have I don't do a lot of this work these days, but every morning I used to voice channel, out on the airwaves. I'd he'll like Jesus TV or whatever and everything. And like, so I would channel Jesus, and that's a big one because people don't trust you too much when you start doing stuff. Oh, sure, you're just, we don't believe it. Yeah. So, but I listen to him, each morning just for myself lately. And um, he just always just says like, to me lately, it's just always like, keeps saying peace. So my monkey mind sometimes wants to
Yeah.
yell back and be like, peace, what the hell are you talking about?
What are you
Like,
saying with all that's going on?
right.
I
Easy for
know,
you to say on that side, right? Or whatever.
right.
Sometimes wants to say that, some mornings, but mostly not. But so sometimes I feel that way if I'm agitated about something. And I'm like, almost like I know better. I won't ask the question, but I want to be like, well, how, right? Like how?
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes you don't know what to do with them either. For me, like, okay, I understand he's pointing me in a direction. Okay, great. That's helping. And I get certain guide. A lot of times it's more metaphorical, like, and it's like this, it's like that. And sometimes it's more specific, but it's usually more metaphorical with him. So I think it comes in different ways. It can be metaphorical. They could give you direct messages.
Yes.
Um, right? I mean, it's all different
Mhm.
ways.
Yeah, it comes sometimes in symbols, or you have to figure out what it means. But the
Mhm.
thing is to trust the thoughts, the feelings that just pop into your head for no reason. You get used to it. It's like a habit. And then the
Mhm.
more you pay attention, the more they'll come to you. Because if
Mhm.
you're not paying attention, they'll stop.
That's
So I would
right.
tell everybody to listen to those thoughts that just pop in your head, for no reason, especially about your loved ones or things to do. Do
Yeah.
this, do that, listen.
I think to be better at being more open, more open. Like I always have a lot of good mental energy, like strong in the mind, be able to be good with that. But um, when I get more observant in my mind, that's when it comes more, right? When you're more still and more observant, of course.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yes. I often tell people if your thoughts are going a mile a minute, it's hard to hear them because, they come as
Mm-hmm.
thoughts, but for the most part. So
Right.
it's important to meditate, quiet your thoughts, and be present.
Yes.
So, but
Yes.
yeah, so there are other ways that they speak to us too. They
Mm-hmm.
they love to come to us in dreams, but they have to wake us up after the dream so we remember it.
Right.
So what I would tell people is say, ask your loved one to come to you in a dream, or the angels, or the
Mm-hmm.
ascended masters, whoever you want. but they have to but please wake me up after the dream so I remember it. And it's also important to know the difference between a real dream from them or a dream from our subconscious. It's just like when we're thinking, is it really us? Is it us or is it them? In a dream, when it's us, when it's them, it'll feel wonderful, like you've won the lottery. They will be younger than what they were. If they were older, it'll be totally love and peace. And if it's our subconscious, it may be scary how they died or they're mad at us. That's not them because they're total peace, right? They're only love and light.
Right.
So
Now that stimulates another question. I do want to get more into the we consciousness big time.
sure.
But let me ask this one other question. Do you ever pick up on spirits that maybe in the in-between kind of space, which is a whole other big topic, but that are not on the, home base or whatever. Because
Yeah,
I know that is a real thing. I mean, that does happen. We all end up in that home space, but not always right away.
yeah, no, I have never received a message like that. It's usually from, when they're from my experience, and maybe it's because people come to me, they're already, it's been a while, whatever. They're ready. You leave the physical body, you feel your connection with everyone and everything, your total love, your total peace. There's no hell or anything like that. However,
No.
we go through a life review where
Right.
we're able to see and feel how we've affected each person through their eyes, as if we are the other person.
Right.
Because we're one. You feel that oneness in an instant. So you will feel how you've affected people, but it won't be for eternity. It's not, oh, now I'm going to suffer the rest of my life because I lied to this person or whatever.
Right.
But you'll feel it as if it was you,
Right.
how you affected, and then you'll see the bigger perspective. And you'll say,
Mhm.
that's often a message that comes through. I should have, could have, would have, and now it's too late. So don't
Yeah.
wait until it's too late. Try to see through the
Oh,
other
well, I have to go back down again, I guess.
way. Just try to see as you're encountering people, how you're affecting them through their eyes. And you may not understand them, but try to see through their eyes why they do what they do.
Right, right. Yeah, that's a helpful message, I think, for all of us, and
Yeah.
good one. So okay, let's talk about go to the. I mean, I'm not. By the way, if guys, I don't ever get a weird idea because I asked a question. Yeah, I'm not like channeling the demons or whatever and stuff just because I asked that question. I'm just curious.
Oh, of course, of
Those
course.
things exist, and I do believe if we wanted to, who would want to, we can tap into some of these denser energies as well, but it wouldn't be too fun. Okay, so yeah, let's talk about we consciousness instead. So
Yeah.
you mentioned it, you talked about it, Francis of Assisi. I learned a little bit about that when I had James Twyman on, and it was really fun and cool. And he's really big into that if you know about him.
Yes, absolutely. Mhm.
But so yeah, tell us more about what the we consciousness is. And you said it's like 33, right? So
Oh,
I'd love
yeah,
to know more.
yes. So basically, all 33 concepts say that we are all one.
Mhm.
Whatever we do to ourselves or another affects everyone because we are all one. You'll
Mhm.
feel that after you leave the physical body, as I just said. But to understand that, and it's important to raise our vibration. So it's more on par with the energy of who we really are, which is God within us, divine, whatever you want to call it. We're only love and peace. Whether we're blocking it or not, that's who we are. And to resonate more on par with who we really are. So, in other words, let me backtrack. We have to create peace within ourselves before we could extend that peace to somebody else. Because if we're going through a trauma or whatever, we can't send love to somebody else because we don't have it. So it begins with ourselves. So a lot of the concepts are pointing to self-love, extending that to others, also our connection to all animals and the environment as well, that they are connected to us as well, not just dogs and cats, but all animals, cows, goats, spiders, all of them. So,
Mhm. Mhm. So, so is part of, so that's all part of entering into the we consciousness is what you're saying then, right?
yes, yes.
Mhm.
to understand that we are one. And that's the first concept, says we are all one, including the angels, ascended masters, deceased loved ones, nature, animals, all humans, all of it. So that's why sometimes we could pick up on the angels or our deceased loved ones or ascended masters. Also, when we get really deep here, as I call them extra celestials from other dimensions, because they're one with us too.
Right.
That's a topic in itself, right? Talking about extra.
Oh, yeah, that's a fun
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it, on what you're saying. So, so it's really pointing to our interconnection. So you said there's 33 concepts then, right? And
Yes.
that's one of the 33. So you go through these in your book, for example, right?
And
But
basically, they're all the same. I mean, they're not all the same, but it's all talking about our oneness and what you
Mhm.
do to yourself or another affects others, about bringing peace to peace within and so forth.
I was listening to, I don't know why I just bring things up as they come to me often in these interviews, but I was just thinking about, I was listening to Michael Singer and he was talking about all the different yogas or whatever. And I don't know, I think it's fun. It's kind of funny to me in a way sometimes, some of this stuff. No disrespect. It's just everything's funny to me sometimes. But he was talking about karma. We got karma yoga. Here's another concept, and karma yoga, it's not about what you're trying to get. It's all about being of, giving your best and being of service in the moment. And, constantly just, you know, how can you serve? So it has nothing, forget
Yeah.
about the idea you like your spouse or not. It doesn't matter. You're to give your best and be your
Well,
best.
it does matter because we have to either change that so that we feel better. But yeah,
Right, right. But he was trying to make a point about this. People get like he felt like people get too his teaching is like people get too caught up in their own personal preferences, that whole kind of spiritual teaching.
Mm.
Well,
Mhm.
I don't know, you're not so hot as you used to be, or what I don't know what ideas people could have about each other, right? Like getting into that rather than, deepening into love and compassion and seeing things from another lens. So if we look at that from a sense of, well, is it convenient to me to I don't know if this has anything to do with we consciousness, but concepts, but people say, well, just escort the spider out of your house, for example. Don't kill the spider. Um, but then some of us are like, I'm sorry, it's going down if it's in my house, and all that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, what's your take on things like that? Because when you open it up to like it's everything, every single thing
I would
that's
take the spider out, which I do.
yeah.
I'm a vegan.
I'm sure I knew you were that
I,
person for
I feel
100%. Like
and what happened was, and this was before the we consciousness, and I'm not saying everybody has to be a vegan, of course not,
right.
but I would love that because it would be better for the animals, for the planet, and we would increase our psychic abilities immensely because you're not ingesting pain.
Mm.
But what happened was after that light experience that I had, I couldn't eat meat anymore because I felt the pain of the animals. And then
Ah,
right after that, I learned the dairy industry is just as bad, and I went off and I just don't eat salad, and that's a whole subject. I've been doing this for many years, and when I'm teaching in front of an auditorium full rooms with people, everybody's listening, but when I talk about veganism, they're not too happy. So I understand completely. So one thing I know people can do if they don't want to become a vegan is maybe one meal a week, have it
hmm
plant-based, no
hmm
animal products, or maybe one
hmm
day a week, could do something like that. And every time you do that, you're saving one animal's life. And
hmm
you'll see you could do it. And you'll
hmm
see how your life really, you feel good, you feel better. It's even healthier. And not if you're eating chips and, really, if you eat healthy plant-based diet, it's healthier too.
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, I've had people on before that say you're taking on the animal's ego as well, or like there's lots of different ideas with veganism, I imagine.
Yeah. Well,
But
when you
that's
really feel it, it's a big thing. I'll tell you. And if anybody felt that, they would do the same thing.
right, right, right. Well, yeah, I mean, my wife, who is not a vegan, but she says she gets those kind of feelings, and then she questions. Well, I don't know. I don't know if that's right. Then again, I feel it's healthy for me to, eat this other way. This is where it gets a little like I'm
Yeah,
willing to talk about things where because I don't come in, I'm like, I know the truth and I do it this way, and this person's right, this person's right, not that person. I'm more like, you know, I look at the different perspectives, not to say one's right or one's wrong, but to look at why are people choosing what they're choosing for different reasons. So for you, it's like yeah, because I think like eating fruit, for example, not to belabor this point too much, but like eating fruit sounds totally natural to me, right? It's pretty much designed for us to eat, right?
yeah,
So like that totally makes sense, and why you would feel good, eating fruit. But then other people say demonize it's got sugar and I don't care, it's got fiber, it don't matter, and they're all in their head about it, right? I
right,
just feel like you got to come from your own divine download, and if
right.
like that's not your thing to be eating meat or those type of products, then don't. I mean,
Mhm.
I love where you're at. I love like, okay, I mean, I have my own take on it, but I'm not
I
gonna
have that.
push it on people
Right.
either, right? So I love that. Like let people have their own space to find their own truth,
Mhm.
That's how I look at it. So uh,
Yeah.
so that's because I think that's part of the we consciousness too, isn't it? I mean,
See
no
through
matter
the
how
other
much
person's
we think
eyes.
things right or true, if
Yeah,
we get in opposition with people, we're not in weak consciousness, right? So it's I don't,
exactly. Well, you have to see through the other person's eyes. So that's
another
one of the,
another thought,
yeah.
yeah, totally, yeah. The other sorry, this other thought came to me, and I remember Byron Katie, somebody a lot of people would respect and admire, right? She one time said this. She said, now, if I was a little mouse in the field and some bird came up and scooped me up and ate me, I would be so grateful. I would be so happy because I know it helped the bird.
Mm,
So,
yeah,
you gotta, I don't know. I think there's different perspectives on it is all I would put it. Because that's one of the things I love about this show is to kind of have these uncomfortable but interesting
yeah,
conversations as well. Because I don't have an absolute opinion on anything. I just know what's true for me maybe today.
right,
Uh,
right.
so, but yeah, so what are some of the other concepts that go with the we consciousness? Yeah.
Okay, I'm just going to glance down. I have the 33 here. Okay, you make the world a better place. That's number 19 by choosing to be an example of inner peace. That's exactly what I was saying before. So we have to feel peace within before we could extend it to another person. So we have to work on ourselves. Sometimes it's not easy. Many times it's not easy, but it's worth our effort. Um,
Hmm.
because we can be the peace that we're looking for, right? We have to
Right.
begin, it begins with us. We don't have to wait for somebody else to do it for us. It begins with us. We're looking for a leader, we're looking for someone to change or do something. It begins with us, raising our vibration to who we really are. So we don't have to wait until it's too late to feel that. That's who we are. We're love,
Mm.
we're compassion. We have God
Right.
within us. We're one with God.
Right.
Big. That's big. Whether you want to call it God, creator, source, doesn't matter. We're one
Right.
with source energy. And as Wayne Dyer said, it's like the ocean. You take a coffee can and you scoop up the water and you take it away. It's not the whole ocean, but you have some of the ocean in the coffee can. The same as what we are. We have God within us. And you know what's the best part? We can all create miracles in our lives. Every one of
Hmm.
us. And the only difference between a miracle worker and one who's not is that the miracle worker knows that he or she
Hmm.
can. And that's it. Yeah.
Right. Right. Yeah, I mean, it all gets simplified once you're aware of more deeply aware of the oneness or the we consciousness or however we're looking at it. But yeah, the more we can stay connected, right, is the key. I mean, like I told you, coming on the show, I had some emotions I've been dealing with this week, and
Mhm.
um, I always look forward to these podcasts on Friday because it's one of the things I love to do the most. It's one of the top things. And no matter my mood going in on a Friday, I tend to feel better as I do the interviews because I love doing the interviews. I love listening to you guys when you have to share. And then once you get my point is that my vibration rises and then I feel that connection with the oneness more so, I'm not caught in just my emotional body, right? And like, I can't feel that one. I feel some separateness. And then all of a sudden you expand that back out. Now you feel amazing, but also more of, you'll notice more miracles, synchronicities, healings, right? All kinds of things are available to us.
And there are no coincidences. Everything is, we create, our thoughts create our reality. Whatever we're thinking and feeling, it's not just the words, it's the feeling. We're creating more of that.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important, create peace within yourself.
Right. What's one of the concepts in the we consciousness that may not be like something that some people might have considered or thought of before? And like you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like there's common spiritual themes out there, but some are,
yeah.
angles. Yeah.
One of them, I'm not even understanding it myself, but I tried to explain it, is time is an illusion.
Okay.
Past, present, and future is all now. And you feel that in an instant after you leave the physical body. You're not, it's not just present, right? But what I was shown is a ruler, right? And present is, say, 6 inch, you're on the 6 inch mark on the ruler. But you have no ruler there. You get up and you can see the whole thing at once when you leave your physical body. Still, it's difficult for me to understand. What's your take on that, about time is an illusion? I'm sure you've heard
Yeah,
that
I
before,
agree.
but it's hard.
100%.
Yeah.
Time, you probably heard this. I mean, we've all heard a lot of things. Time is mind, right? The mind is measuring time, but it is hard to understand because we have such interwoven experience of time that we just figure it can't be illusion. It's totally real, right? But the first time I heard that, I was like, everything's happening just all at once. I was like, this is decades ago, right? I'm like,
Hard.
I was like, what? I made somehow that makes sense, but I don't get it, like,
Yeah.
and over the years, like somehow I do understand it, but I couldn't explain it to somebody. Yeah, I guess that makes sense and it feels true. And I also get it deep down inside. I totally get it. I'd have a hard time fully articulating why I know that to be true. I mean, one thing I always say is there's infinite timelines, there's infinite universes, and there's
Yeah.
infinite everything. So, you know, there's
It's hard to,
no universe where we didn't do this show. There's no universe where this happened, never happened, right? All kinds of, I believe it all exists. And it has already happened. It is already all recorded. So in that sense, like it makes sense to me, like time is an illusion because it's already happened. We're just in a certain blip or stream of experiencing something, right? As
yeah.
a consciousness in this point, in this place. So that's in that way it makes sense to me in a way, but yeah, it is a tough one,
It
because
is a tough one, especially when we're in this physical body where we're so focused on you know, this moment. Well, but then again, most people aren't focused on this moment. They're focused on what they're going to do tomorrow or what happened to them. But that's a different concept. That's to be present is important too, but that's a different concept.
Yeah, we could go on and on for sure.
Yeah.
So tell us more about where people can connect with you. I know you got that scares people off. They're like, I can't ever get in with her for 2 years, but I'm sure you have other ways to serve people. I know you have a free gift. I know you've got your book. If you want to share with them about those things, yes.
So I just decided recently I'm not taking any new appointments. I've been booked for 2 years ahead of time for 20 years, and I have grandchildren that I'd like to see. I am still doing classes. I'm traveling. I'm all over the country. I'll be at Omega 3 times, Kripalu, Lilydale, and so forth. I'm going on a retreat in February. But most people could find my information on my website at KarenNoe.com. That's Karen, KarenNoe.com. And it tells you all the classes I'm doing. Some of them are in person, some of them are online, and so forth. My books, you could find that on my website as well.
Nice, nice. And so, yeah, and we have the meditation as well. People can take advantage of. We'll put it in the show notes. So, you want to tell them anything about the chakra clearing meditation?
Yeah. So it's important if you truly want to connect with your loved ones or you just want to become more intuitive. It's good to clear your chakras. Those are the energy centers within your body. So this little meditation helps you to clear your chakras. If you do it every day, it really helps a lot.
Nice. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. Well, that's wonderful. Yeah, if you want to see Karen, you got all these different places she's at. You can go visit her there too, and you can find her, all over place online and go to her website. So, plenty of access points still. And so one last question before we do the energy scan segment is, so you actually do, so all these, how many beings do you connect with? Is it like on a regular basis? Is it like lots and lots of different ones, or is it just a few?
It's usually deceased loved ones. In the beginning, when this first happened to me, it was angels, which I loved. And then I noticed that
Those are the good old days, right?
I love that. I'm trying to go back to that now.
Right.
But people want the deceased loved ones. As a matter of fact, when the Dyers came, Wayne said, ask them what they want, personal messages or messages from the we guys, profound.
Mhm.
And they said personal messages. Of course, they wanted to know that. But what was the question? I lost track of what I was
Oh,
saying.
no, no problem. I understand. I was just asking how many different
Oh,
type of beings do you connect with on a regular basis? Yeah.
so every day, I'm working at my center, the Angel Quest Center for Deceased Loved Ones. I do 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 4 o'clock because that's enough for me each day. That's about an hour appointment, and it gives me time in between to relax, have,
Sure.
turn phone calls and so forth. But the angels, when they come through, that's my favorite, and they come through as well. But there's never been another famous person like Wayne Dyer. So
Mhm. Mhm. Right.
again, I didn't want to do this, but I did. I had no choice.
Right, 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 right. Oh, that's fantastic. That you open to it, and the good, bad, and the ugly of it, I suppose.
Yeah.
It's been the best thing ever, and hey, it's tough at times. So I get out of it. Okay, fantastic. So yeah, we're going into our energy scan segment where I give the guests a couple of downloads. I'm fascinated to see what comes through, especially for someone like yourself. So, you ready to receive?
I am.
Awesome. Okay, and guys, listening, there may be a couple of messages in here for you too. Usually there are. Okay, I just get centered for a second. Wow. Yep. Yeah, I mean, I just get this real, the thing they really want me to share. I always say they, it's the usual type of thing. But anyway, I get this feeling around, and I was picking up through it in the show, but it's really strong once I went deeper in my presence, right? They tune in you, and I just get like this little, like a crystal like coming from your third eye, and just how attuned and dead on and everything, which totally makes sense, knowing who you are, but like they just are showing me how strong it is. And I actually think you've got a lot of psychic power in that, you can not, okay, this is going to sound bad, but like because people judge the word, but you can manipulate your environment and energy like easily if you wanted to. Now, you're not someone that's trying to like I can get what I want, here we go all the time. Like you're not that person, but you have this capacity to make things, yeah, I'll open the door without opening it with my hands or something, like things like that. You have this strong psychic gift, and you may or may not realize it yet, but it's really they keep showing it to me like past lives, like levitating stuff and things, and like it's just something to be aware of, I guess. Thing is, I don't know that it's resonating completely yet, but like I share I would say I share what comes through. Sometimes people have no idea what I'm talking about, and then later it makes sense. So anyway, just share the information. Yeah. All right, let's see what else comes through though. Oh. I still don't get all this stuff either, that what I pick up on. A lot of stuff I pick up on, I haven't studied anywhere, right? And I just get these messages. So they're saying to me, like, you have been in, like, you came in like a No wonder you like the angels better. I get like you were, you probably heard this before, but you descended, as, you were an angel form and came in a human many lifetimes ago. And I get this sense like this is just selfless service by you. Like, oh, I don't totally want to be here, but yeah, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Like, that's what it feels like in the vibration. Not that you don't love life a lot in other ways. I'm just saying like there's kind of like, yeah, I kind of in it too. And so it's really interesting because how expanded but I think it's like you want to help people to get to that level where they can raise up to that, on their path as souls as well, and more into that. So, because ultimately I feel like we're all destination is wholeness, right? So, um, anyway, so that's what I share what comes through, and sometimes it's just interesting things I came through today, and sometimes it's something totally different. We never know. So, any quick reflections or thoughts about what came through today?
Oh, thank you. It makes sense.
Oh, okay.
As I appreciate it. Thank you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I never know if it makes sense for sure until the person responds, I have to make sure. But cool. All right, everybody. So yeah, you guys too. You never know where you've come from or what's more about your gifts and what wants to happen. I do offer help with people that want to, as a business, use their healing gifts to help others and thrive and prosper. I always say nobody signed up to be a healer and help other people to make a lot of money, as that I know of, although I guess there's gurus that have abused power. But for the most part, 99.9% or whatever, you guys just want to help people. But sometimes you have a hard time thriving as a healer. So if you want to learn how to thrive as a healer, you can go to my website, check it out. I've got different ways of helping, including teaching you how to do what I just did, and then helping people that to do more with you, like offer a quick free reading and then do the healing work with them and whatnot. My energy scan training, can also learn about receiving energy scan consultations from me on my website. And then I have a meditate and make money. So open up to the frequency of receiving, and get your downloads from your guides and angels and whatnot each day. See where you're guided, and let it be the easier way, the meditate and make money way. All right, so that's all at yoursacredpurpose.com. So as we're wrapping up today, Karen, any last words for the audience?
I just would like to tell them to remember who they are and they're divine beings of love and light. And just to remember that and try to see through the eyes of others as you're experiencing life, through each person's eyes. And don't wait till it's too late, because you could create peace right here and now by doing that.
Right. Absolutely. Oh, great. Thank you so much for making time in your busy schedule, your very full calendar in life to come on the show today. It's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on today, Karen.
Thank you very much. Have a beautiful day.
You as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
And to everyone listening, keep on tuning in and we'll keep on rocking it here at Spiritual Rockstar Podcast. Till listening to Spiritual Rockstar Podcast, stay tuned for our next upcoming new episodes each Saturday. Please be sure to subscribe, rate, and review to help us to serve you best. As a reminder, you can get your free Meditate and Make Money meditation at www.yoursacredpurpose.com to rock your sacred purpose. Goodbye for now, everybody.